Hello guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favorite NHL players from the Eastern Conference. Now of course, being a two-part series, I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference here, and then I'll talk about my top 10 players in the Western Conference at a later date. Now these 10 players, most of them have been pretty influential in the NHL, most of them had very, very great NHL careers, and a lot of them I love seeing on the ice. Some of them are great off-ice people, some of them are just great hockey players in general. A lot of them influenced me being the hockey fan today. Now to start off the top 10, I have Roberto Luongo of the Florida Panthers, and one of my favorite players on there, of course, and one of my favorite goalies in the NHL right now. Of course, he's the goaltender for the Florida Panthers at age 39, still trucking along and still doing very, very well today. He's a fantastic person off the ice, and that's what really highlights his career. Is yes, he's had a fantastic career as a goaltender, but the things that he does off the ice with charity, with just being an overall fantastic person is great. And the 17-18 season with the Florida Panthers, he was a bit unhealthy, played 35 games, had 2.47 goals against average, with a .929 save percentage. His career, he's played 1,001 games. He's had 2.49 goals against average, with a .919 save percentage. Not bad at all, and one of the best numbers in the NHL. And of course, while he's had that brilliant career, as I said before, he's a brilliant guy. He's fantastic. His Twitter account is one of the best in the NHL, and he's a funny person. He's a fantastic person off the ice, and to me, that's what makes him such a great player. Is yes, he can bring it on the ice, but he can also bring it off it. At number 9, I have Phil the Frill Kessel of the Pittsburgh Penguins, being my favorite Pittsburgh Penguin player on the team right now. Of course, he's the right winger, age 30 years old, 2-time Stanley Cup champion, and of course, he's one of the biggest memes in the NHL right now. Fantastic person, and he's hilarious. He's pretty much known for eating hot dogs, even though he doesn't really like them that much, which is hilarious. But he's just a fantastic, funny person, and he's just brilliant. He's always smiling, which is great, and he just seems like he doesn't take it too seriously. He looks like he's having fun out there every single game, and that's great to see from a lot of players. You don't usually see that too much in the NHL nowadays. Games, had 34 goals, 58 assists for 92 points. In his career, he's played 914 games, has had 330 goals, 411 assists for 741 points, has been one of the best point guys throughout the NHL for the last few years, and especially with goals. He's been one of the more snipers in the NHL. He has a brilliant shot, he's a fantastic NHL player, and a great person all around. At number 8, I have Austin Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I've liked him ever since he was even a prospect. I've really liked the guy. Of course, being from Arizona, that's a great story to see. A grade A prospect coming from that type of area has been fantastic, and a great inspiration for the kids over there in Arizona and in that desert area. It's fantastic to see. And in the 17-18 season, he played 62 games, had 34 goals, 29 assists for 63 points. He wasn't completely healthy, which is sad. Hopefully we'll see a healthy season from him next season, though. In his short career so far, he's played 144 games. He's had 74 goals, 58 assists for 132 points, which is fantastic. He's still at age 20, so young, and so much more to come from him. It's going to be fantastic to see what he does with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and of course what the Toronto Maple Leafs do around him. He's been one of the more elite young guys in the NHL, and I'm definitely looking to be a bright future with him with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and one of the best guys looking forward in the NHL in the next few years. He's looking to be fantastic, and he's already shown that, and honestly, as a person, he's fantastic. He's a great all-around guy and a great hockey player. It's going to be really exciting to see what he does with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and of course, what his career looks like at the end of it. At number 7, I have David Pastrnak of the Boston Bruins, and he is a very interesting player from the last couple of years where he's really broken out. Of course, he's a left winger for the Boston Bruins, or right winger basically, at age 22, and he's one of the real reasons why Boston isn't in the basement for me on teams that I like. I really do like David Pastrnak, and I can't really put into words why, but I just love his play style. I love how he just plays the game, and of course, he's been fantastic as a player and really broken out the last couple of years for the Boston Bruins, and leading them to 2 straight playoff berths is really something special to what Pastrnak has brought to that team. In the 17-18 season, he played 82 games, had 35 goals, 45 assists for 80 points, and not bad at all, and definitely fantastic numbers. In his career, he's played 254 games, has had 94 goals, 109 assists for 203 points, and has been fantastic in the last couple of years, putting up 70 points and then 80 points this past season. He's going to be one of the best elite wingers going into the future for youth, and he's bringing it for the Boston Bruins. Has looked like one of the better picks over the last few years. David Pastrnak has been a steal for them lately, and has been fantastic, and I'm really interested to see how his career turns out. I really do like the guy. I like his play style, and I think that he's one of my favorite guys in the NHL just because of how he plays the game, how flawless it seems like he's out there and just making plays all the time. It's fantastic. I love to see him just work his magic on the ice, and the Boston Bruins definitely have something special here. At number 6, I have Matthew Barzal of the New York Islanders. Of course, the center, age 21, winning the Calder this past season. And in 17-18 season, of course, his rookie year, he played a full 82-game season, had 22 goals, 63 assists for 85 points, and he's really come into his own in the last year with the New York Islanders. And really, he has been explosive in the last year, and I've really come to like and love his play style. His passing, arguably, is one of the best in the NHL. If you just watch his highlights, if you just watch his pure, flawless passing, it is not quite Sidney Crosby level, but pretty close to it. He is a flawless passer. He's already shown that in the NHL. He's a brilliant playmaker. He has great offensive awareness, and has already shown that with the New York Islanders with not the greatest teammates. He's shown fantastic playmaking ability and great offensive ability. Is definitely the first line center of the future for the New York Islanders, even if they lost John Tavares. At number 5, I have Henrik Lundqvist, King Henrik from the New York Rangers. Of course, the goaltender at age 36, still going strong to this day. He is one of the best goaltenders for the last few years. He's been a dominant performer in the NHL, and of course, off the ice, he's a brilliant person. He's a great guy, and he's a fantastic guy, just both charity and all that. He does great stuff off the ice, which is definitely great for him, and really rise him up the rankings here. But he's been one of my favorite goaltenders for the longest time, just because of how consistent he is, how great he is, and just how really big of a badass he is, just overall on the ice, off the ice. He does it all, really. In the 17-18 season, he played 63 games. He had a 2.98 goals against average with a .915 save percentage. Really not the greatest numbers, but the defense around him was not the best. In his career, he's played 805 games, had a 2.37 goals against average with a .919 save percentage, which is awfully amazing. He has to be a Hall of Famer, let's be honest here. He has to. He's one of the best goaltenders for the last while, for the last decade. He definitely deserves all the credit that he's had. He's one of the more talented and gifted goaltenders in the league, and he's shown that for the last few years. And, of course, being one of the biggest steals in the NHL draft, that's fantastic, along with that great story, too. He's worked hard to get to where he is, and he definitely deserves where he is right now. At number 4, I have the great 8, Alex Ovechkin of the Washington Capitals, and really, where to begin? This past season, being the captain of the Washington Capitals and leading them to the Stanley Cup, finally getting that Stanley Cup that he's wanted and needed for so long. Definitely well-deserved, and the redemption story is fantastic against Pittsburgh Penguins, and along the way, being Tampa, being Columbus, being Vegas, it's fantastic, the story that he's come through to get to this point, and to finally win that Stanley Cup. It's fantastic, and one of the best stories from last year. And of course, being one of the best goal scorers of all time and the best goal scorer of our generation is definitely great adding on to that. The 17-18 season, he played 82 games at 49 goals, 3 assists for 87 points. Great numbers, obviously, from him in the playoffs. He continued as well. In his career, he played 1,003 games. He's had 607 goals, 515 assists for 1,122 points. Just purely disgusting. And of course, he's one of the big reasons why I'm technically a Washington Capitals fan. They're in my top 10. I think they're my 7th favorite team. Washington Capitals are one of my favorite teams in that list, and Alex Ovechkin is definitely one of the reasons for that. He's a beast. He's fantastic. And while some of the off-ice stuff is questionable, not with his partying stuff, but just with his politics and all that, it can get a little bit messy, but for him on the ice, he's one of the best guys out there, and he is a great player, obviously an understatement, but he's been one of the more generational guys in the last few years, and I think he's finally getting his dues because he got that Stanley Cup finally, and it's great to see that he finally got that chance, and of course he's partying like it. And the list goes on. You can mention his countless Rocket Richard trophies. You can mention how many scoring titles he's gotten, and how just a successful career he's had, but a for sure Hall of Famer, and one of the best goal scorers of all time, if not the best of all time. At number 3, I have Andrei Vasilevskiy of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and of course the goaltender for them in the last few years for their starter position. He's at age 24, and he's been making it work for the last few years. In the 17-18 season, he played 65 games at a 2.62 goals against average, a .920 save percentage. And in his career, he's played 155 games. He's had 261 goals against average with a .917 save percentage. And he's been one of my favorite goaltenders when it just comes to style. And while I'll openly admit Jonathan Quick is my favorite goaltender in the league right now, Andrei Vasilevskiy is definitely not far behind. He's been one of my favorite goaltenders for the last few years, and even, of course, when he was fighting for that starter spot with Ben Bishop, I thought he was the better goaltender just for his style and how he was able to make the game look a little bit easier than everybody else. And Andrei Vasilevskiy can make saves anywhere. He's shown that last season. He can make some highlight reel saves, and I love to see that from him. Andrei Vasilevskiy has a steady goaltender and was the Vezina favorite for a lot of that season until he kind of got a little bit tired, and the team kind of got a little bit tired around him. He's one of my favorite goaltenders in the league, and honestly, one of the best in the league too. At number 2, this player will come to no surprise to anyone, as I mentioned in the channel before. I love this player to pieces. It is Brayden Point of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and he has been one of my favorite players since he's even come to the league. He is at age 22. His last season, 17-18 season, he played 82 games, had 32 goals, 4 assists for 66 points. His career, he played 150 games, had 50 goals, 56 assists for 106 points. And to me, he's the reason why I'm a Tampa Bay fan. And while he's not the best player in the world, he can be that player. And I feel like he'll be one of the more underrated guys in the NHL for the next few years. He's shown massive talent both in the goal scoring, the assist department, and he's been fantastic offensively in the last few years. And he's very, very solid defensively in my mind, and I think he's pretty underrated in that department. And the next few years, I could see him jumping into a class in the NHL that is very limited. I could see him being a top 20 player, maybe even top 10 player for a couple of seasons there in the NHL, and I feel like he definitely has talent to do that. And back in his rookie year when he was just scoring and scoring and scoring, I love the story of him, even with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who I think it was 2016 when they just missed the playoffs. I love the story of him and Nikita Kucherov having those big seasons and almost bringing Tampa to the playoffs after Steven Stamkos was injured and after he had some problems of the team overall. I love that story of those two bringing the team almost to playoff success, and it was just a great story, Brayden Point being one of the guys that made it that way. Now at number 1, this is probably the least surprising guy on this list, and if you already know from streams and all that, you already know my number 1. At number 1, I have Seth Jones of the Columbus Blue Jackets, and of course, that's no surprise to anyone here. The defenseman at age 23 is an absolute stud. In the 17-18 season, he played 78 games, had 16 goals, 41 assists for 57 points, but it was not about his points, even though they were fantastic. He had a really elite advanced numbers, and if you saw his metrics, he was absolutely monster. And whenever you saw Columbus games, both in the playoffs and the regular season, he was dominating. He was the anchor of that team that people say Werenski is. Seth Jones was really that player that helped them get down from the brink and up to the playoffs. He was one of the successful guys last season that really carried their team and really carried Columbus to the playoffs and almost got past the Capitals. And when I say Seth Jones is elite, he is elite. He was one of the best defenders last season, really carried the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the advanced stats really showed that from last season. He's going to make his way up, and I do believe that he's a future Norris winner. And of course, the main reasons why I love him is because he's from Arlington. That's about 20 minutes away from me. I live in Garland, so it's a little bit of a drive, but he really grew up, like, not that far away from me, and I love that story that, you know, I can connect with that we have, that Texas really has a star that grew up and was raised here, and that's fantastic, and I love the story there that Seth Jones has become. That's an elite player, and I'll definitely be supporting him wherever he goes, because, honestly, he's one of my favorite players in the NHL right now. Honorable mentions written down on my list. You got Alexander Barkov, Jack Eichel, you got Morgan Riley, who I have a signed puck over there, Sergei Bobrovsky, Nico Hischier, Ivan Provorov will be up there. There's a lot of decent players and a lot of players that I really, really love in the Eastern Conference that I couldn't put on this list, sadly, but the NHL is in a great place, especially for me. I love a lot of players right now in the NHL, and unfortunately, I couldn't include all of them. But of course, when it comes to favorite players, it is entirely subjective. So I want to know what your favorite players are from the Eastern Conference, and of course, why they're your favorite players. But that is going to be it for today, guys. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe. Tell me down below what you think about my list. What do you think of the players that I listed here, and are they your favorite? What are your favorite players in the Eastern Conference? And of course, what do you like about them, and what are your stories about them? I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.